Until the 1960s, the common belief was that it was a disadvantage to be bilingual. This misconception is due to xenophobia, or as Merriam-Webster defines it, fear or hatred of strangers or foreigners. However, more recent studies confirm that being bilingual is in fact a very positive skill that everybody should have. According to an article in Forbes titled "The Best Way to Learn a Foreign Language is Opposite of the Usual Way," written by Catherine Nielsen on April 22, 2014, only 17% of U.S. citizens can speak more than one language compared to 54% of Europeans. Russell Berman, former president of the Modern Language Association, fears that the U.S. is becoming a nation of second language illiterates. Knowing a second language is an extremely important skill due to the various cognitive advantages you can receive. Through various studies, scientists have discovered that not only do bilinguals have better linguistic skills, they are also better able to solve puzzles that require a high amount of cognitive concentration. In this speech, I will discuss how learning a second language can improve your problem-solving and multitasking skills, and I will also discuss easy ways to learn a second language. To begin, I'll start by discussing how language learning is directly related to problem-solving abilities. Being able to solve problems in a more efficient manner is one of the main advantages of learning a second language. Studies show that bilinguals have more activity in certain parts of their brains, which leads them to be able to solve puzzles more quickly and efficiently than monolinguals. In the New York Times article, "The Bilingual Advantage," written by Claudia Dreyfus on May 30, 2011, the interviewee Ellen Bialystok explains a study she performed on children, which shows how bilinguals are able to ignore unimportant information and focus solely on what is important. In this study, she separated 5- and 6-year-olds into two groups, bilingual and monolingual. She then gave the two groups a sentence: "Apples grow on noses." The children had to determine if the sentence was grammatically correct. While the monolingual group stated that the sentence is silly, the bilingual group recognized that the sentence was grammatically correct. Ellen then concluded that bilinguals are better at setting aside unimportant information, in this case the semantics of the sentence. The reason for this is that bilinguals use the executive control system of their brains a lot more than monolinguals do. This part of the brain allows you to pick out useful information. It would make sense that bilinguals would be better at this because when they speak in one language, their executive control systems are translating into both languages, so it has to go through the translations and pick out the information from the correct language. In another study from the New York Times article, "Why Bilinguals Are Smarter," by Yuji Bhattacharjee from May 17, 2012, the author gives another example of a study done by Bialystok in which she tests 7-month-old babies on their cognitive abilities. Half of the babies had been raised in monolingual families and the other half in bilingual families. The scientists played a sound, and then a picture of a puppet would appear on a certain side of the screen. The babies then looked at that side of the screen in anticipation of the puppet. Later, the scientists switched the puppet to the other side of the screen. The babies exposed to the bilingual environment quickly learned the change and started looking for the puppet on the correct side of the screen. However, the other babies continued to look for the puppet on the first side. These studies show the incredible advancements bilinguals have when it comes to brain cognition. While these problem-solving abilities are probably the most studied advantages of bilingualism, the ability to multitask is another advantage of learning a second language. Multitasking is something all of us do. Even if it isn't very efficient, our minds are constantly trying to focus on multiple things at once. While multitasking will always be difficult for most of us, learning a second language has proven to make it a lot easier. According to a news article from the Penn State website from February 18, 2011, titled "Juggling Languages Can Build Better Brains," people who know 2 languages are constantly switching between the two, a task which would obviously make bilinguals better at multitasking. As discussed earlier, a bilingual's executive control system is constantly translating and deciding between the 2 languages. In The Bilingual Advantage, Ellen tells Dreyfus about a study she did using driving simulators, which resulted in the evidence that bilinguals are better at multitasking than monolinguals. The scientists separated adults into groups of bilinguals and monolinguals. They then put the people in a driving simulator and observed their driving abilities. Then the scientists began causing distractions, such as phone calls. The drivers would have to carry on a conversation while driving. While this was happening, the scientists were measuring how worse the subject's driving got while trying to carry on a conversation. While everybody's driving worsened, the bilinguals were significantly better at multitasking than the monolinguals were. Now that we've discussed the multitasking benefits of bilingualism, we will discuss easy ways to learn a second language. Languages Around the Globe has a page on their website that lists some of the top reasons people don't want to learn a second language. Among these are, I don't have enough money and I don't have enough time. Both of these statements are poor excuses for not learning a second language. There are countless websites that give language lessons for free. One of my favorite is Bilingual, which is very similar to Rosetta Stone but completely free. People think that learning a second language is extremely time-consuming. However, you don't have to spend hours a day studying as long as you keep your study sessions consistent. It is enough to learn for 30 minutes a day as long as you're doing it in a way that's helpful to you. As long as you are passionate and genuinely want to learn a language, you will be able to become bilingual. In conclusion, learning a second language does not have to be difficult. It's something with which you can spend a few minutes a day. This speech has hopefully given you a better understanding of how important bilingualism is and how it can change your life. By discussing the improvements of problem-solving skills and multitasking and the ease of learning the second language, it is obvious that bilingualism is something that can be achieved easily and can result in countless cognitive advantages.